Okay, let's try this again. Pin the science, pin the science, pin the crew report, fire solid rocket boosters, pin one of the mystery U's, because for some reason it won't let me pin more than that. I think it's probably because I used symmetry to attach them, but I don't know for sure. I've heard that there are a lot of bugs with 1.1.2, but so far, as long as you're just using stock, and I forgot to turn on SAS. Whew, that was close. As long as you're using stock, it still seems pretty stable. It's only when you start adding some crazy mods in there that it starts getting really unstable. Now, I did test this one twice already, but I had to revert back because I was distracted by actual work stuff. So I'm extremely confident that this will reach the... I know this will reach the atmosphere. It's been tested. But I'm also pretty confident that we can get all the science that we need if I remember not to turn physics warp on. We're going to push to about 75,000 meters, 75K, and then cut off the liquid fuel engine. And once we do that, we'll coast to our atmospheric eject, conduct our science, and let gravity bring us back on in. Oh, we had some environmental effects there going on. I wasn't quite expecting. Why did it unpin my mystery goo? Don't know what's going on there, but okay. So physics warp to the, because you can't do rails warp inside an atmosphere. As long as you're inside an atmosphere, you have to do physics warp if you want to go faster. I'm pretty sure there's a mod that changes that, but I don't have it. Okay, there's the atmospheric eject. So observe, observe, crew report, observe, 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 and of course they pop up right on top of the windows that I already have open. Let's get all of these observations. And it really is a shame that I can't do an EVA at this point, but I haven't upgraded the astronaut complex yet. Okay, so that is all the science. Save all the science and unpin everything. And okay, gravity's already taken us back down. We've got what looks like about a quarter tank of fuel, so we're gonna just shoot back on down through the atmosphere, see how horribly fast we get going. And yeah, I think this time we'll cut the engine in a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, though. So we still want aerodynamics to do most of the deceleration, but we also don't want to burn up in the atmosphere or not have enough delta V to land safely. So here we go, 22,000. It's not slowing us down yet. We're still speeding up, and I think we're going to keep speeding up for quite a while. Okay, now we're starting to slow down in the atmosphere. 13, 12, full engine kick, 8 Gs, and we just keep that engine going until it runs out, I think. Yeah, it definitely looks like, oh no, okay, save that. Let aerodynamics slow us down a bit more. Come on, gotta get below 280. There, fire the parachutes. Cut off the engine because we're out of fuel anyway, and let the parachutes take us down to the ground. Come on, slow down, slow down, slow down. Full deployment. Slowing. we're going to hit the ground pretty hard, I think. Turn off SAS for now. Nope, we're actually going to be quite okay. 6.3 is probably enough to destroy that engine bell, but we should hit the ground safely on that bottom fuel tank. And let's just see. The ground at the Kerbal Space Center is about 63, 64, if I remember right. And we look like we're just a little bit higher than that, so probably come in about 240. And of course, it's measured from the command pod. Oh, awesome. Didn't even destroy the engine bell. Oh, before we tip over, let's go ahead and recover that. And if you've noticed, we've collected a lot of science without really using, there's an extra 56.5, without really opening up a whole lot on the tech tree. We've got, with just 2 nodes activated, we've collected 188 science. We don't even have access to most of the necessary experiments, but we can now turn on unpaid research. So, we don't really care about reputation. We've got a commitment limit. Can't go above. Looks like we can't go above 19, so we're gonna go straight to 19. If I can get, there we go. And it takes 19% of our reputation gains and yields 1 science for each 2.471 reputation, and it costs us 49 reputation to set up. So we'll go ahead and take that. Now, instead of gaining reputation, we'll gain science. Let's see, what else do we have? We have no active contracts. Let's fix that. Okay. Test the drogue chute in flight, and test the radial mount chute in flight. We'll take both of those. And you know what? I think it's time to update or to upgrade mission control so we can sign up for more contracts. Haul a heat shield. That just requires to be with us. And test a radial decoupler. That's pushing the limit, because that speed limit is really pushing the limits of what we can do. You know what? I think I'm going to take it and just see if we can't do an orbital insertion. We're probably not going to get into orbit, but we might be able to do a suborbital insertion with what we've got. So the contracts that we have is have a heat shield. That's always a good thing to have. How much space, how many parts do we have available to work with? Okay, we don't need any of the mystery goo anymore. Here's the heat shield, which we don't normally have access to. That's why it's got that dark blue around it. I'm going to stick that right in there under the command pod. And it comes, I'm pretty sure, oh, it doesn't come with the decoupler. And you see it's got that experimental right there. That lets you know that you only have access to it as long as that contract is active. We've got the radial decoupler. We need to test that, right? Yeah, we got to test that. Now for symmetry, 3-way symmetry, and we're going to put it on its own stage. We'll move that stage around later. Put that back on its own stage. So we still have 5 parts to work with. What was the other thing? Right, the radial mount parachutes, which are kind of awesome. And having these, especially where they're going to go, will allow me to completely eliminate that decoupler. going to put these, so these smaller ones, the drogues, put them down there. And because we have temporary access to the radial decoupler, we're going to use that right away. We've only got one part left. Let's see how close we can get. Oh, no, I know what we can do. Instead of, we can do 6 ways with those, and then get rid of that and that. Keep those, and then put 3 full strength SRBs down here. So we're going to fire those SRBs, then we're going to get rid of them. Fire, okay, again, as low as possible. Helps keep the center of mass low too. Keep those down there. Check that, okay. Those are going to get tested. Those are going to get tested. We want everything that's going to get tested to be in its own stage. I'm just weird like that. The first thing that's going to be tested is the radial decouplers, because those are we're going to be going up with those. Then as we come down, we're going to test the next one is going to be the drogues. So as we come down, it's going to be the drogues, and then the radial mounts. Actually, first is going to be the heat shield at 23,000 meters. We're going to have to be going pretty fast, so that definitely has to be coming down. Oh yeah, we're right there at the limit, I think. Yeah, that's going to work out beautifully. Let's launch that. Okay, so the heat shield, no, the first thing is the radial decouplers. Let's launch. Where are we going? Oh, we've got some weird torque thing going on here. It's okay. It's okay. We're accelerating way too fast. We might end up burning up on the way up. So I'll have to cut those back to about 40 if we launch this thing again. But for the time being, it looks like we're going to be okay. They should burn out well before they become a problem. And jettison, go to liquid fuel. We're going plenty fast. Oh, and because I cut it out, we're just going to spin. No control whatsoever. Wait, maybe we can regain some control. And that right there is the danger of the aerodynamic. One of the other dangers of the aerodynamic effects is that you're going too fast. Wind resistance causes you to lose control. Okay, firing it back up. Oh. Hit the gravity turn. Turn. So we still want to be going up. Oh, turn stability control back on. Let's see where we're at. Our apoapsis is 28,000. So we need to be going way more up than we're going forward. And we've got to hit that 640. But we can't go over 1990. And we've still got to get high enough. 56,000. Do we make it? Do we run out of fuel? We ran out of fuel. We did not make it. Okay, no problem. So next one is at 18,000 to 23,000. Okay, now we're going to come in pretty darn hot on this. So I want to be facing, I want to have physics warp off first, but I want the engine bell facing retrograde, because those things are designed to handle the heat output from the engine. And I don't know if you figured this out or not, but those engines put out a heck of a lot of heat. So the engine bell should, at least in Kerbal Space Program, should be able to handle the heat of re-entry as well as it handles the heat of propulsion. Now, it wouldn't work in the real world because that bell would be driving all of the heat back up into the engine and burst internally and explode. And that would be really bad because the fuel tanks never get actually completely dry, except through evaporation. So there's always some residual fuel left in each of those tanks. And it's not a lot. It's not enough to use, but it is enough to make a big bang in space and blow your rocket to pieces. Anyway, we are coming down. I want us to accelerate at this point. I want us to get up to this 1,070 meters per second so that we can satisfy that heat shield contract. Otherwise, this has really just been an exercise in futility. Here we go. We're still accelerating, which is good news. We're going. Oh, I wonder if we can... We're still pretty high. Oh, there's still science to do up here. Okay. I was expecting to have to get lower and maybe do some in a biome, but that'll work. Okay, what happened? Do we hit a slowdown somewhere? Because I thought we were getting pretty. Oh, right, we went from orbital speed to surface speed, and surface speed. We're already outside the height requirement. So at 11,000, well, we can't test the stack decouplers. They're going to explode. They exploded. We can no longer test, or can we test? No, yeah, we can still test the drogues. We've got about till 4,000, so we want to flatten this sucker out to slow us down. Gotta get there. That's the drogues. Should be the drogues. Or did we make it? Yeah. But we didn't make the regular parachutes. But we're still going to use them. So we satisfied 2 contracts with that flight. Let's see. Can we get a crew report up here? Yes, we can. And we do not need to separate that. So, physics warp. Turn off SAS. Oh, and you know what? I think... Can I do it? Nope. Gotta be landed. Or splashdown. This is gonna be a splashdown, so I'll just wait for her to get down there and then take the splashdown report in the water. And we are going really slow. 4.8, 4.7 to 5 meters per second. It's gonna take us forever. Just there went one of my bits. But it's gonna take us forever to splash down. And so while we're doing that, I've got a work thing or two to take care of. And I don't know. I'm doing live commentary right now. I may go back in and just record over this. But we'll see. yeah, I went ahead and did that work thing, and we're still at 4 times physics acceleration. We're still just now getting to the ocean. Okay, fall over. EVA. Oh, too close. EVA report from Kerbal's water. Perfect. Can I store that? Well, it doesn't matter. And then recover the vessel. We're going to lose access to a couple of things. I think it's all the parachutes we're going to lose access to, which is unfortunate because that means we have to rebuild that Mark 16 star. Well, no, you know what? It doesn't. Okay, and I mean it does, but it doesn't. We can either rebuild the Mark 16 star, or we can just go to R&D and buy these side parachutes, which I don't think I'm going to do. What do we have left? We still got the heat shield, and oh, the radial mount, the full parachute, and the main decouplers. So let's set this thrust limiter to about 40.